This is Punters Inside Run, and we are talking Group 2 racing at the Valley Saturday, the $350,000 Australia Stakes. James Lamb from punters.com.au joins us as always. Lammy, busy week. Wednesday, they threw an Australia Day on you and some dual acceptors, so a little bit tricky doing all the form at the same time.
Yeah, there's a couple of dual acceptors. I think we've got Alpha One might be running around today at Sandown, so take that out of one of the races on a Saturday and probably takes a fair bit of the speed out of that race as well. But looks a nice card at the Valley.
We look at this race, the Australia Stakes. On paper it says, is it a two-horse race? Is it Snapper against Jigsaw?
I think it might be. You know, it's only a small field. There's 8 runners in it.
Yeah.
I reckon more than half of the field is probably looking for longer races, aren't they?
Yeah, I think there's a few up the top that'll probably be run off their feet early.
Yeah, Tirath probably goes into that boat as well.
Yep.
Yeah, Tirath was just too bad to be true last time, so I'm a bit wary about that horse first up.
Jigsaw has been in career best form, and we saw that last race. Just the last 50 metres they made ground on Jigsaw. Some people are saying 1200 is too far, but Jigsaw's won over 1200 metres.
Yeah, it won 2 of its last 3 over this trip, and obviously going for 4 on the bounce this prep. It is racing in career best form. I am going with Jigsaw on top. I just think barrier 2 is the key for Jigsaw. If it had drawn outside of Snapper, I probably would have gone against it, but drawn to find the fence before Snapper, and if Snapper has to do the work outside of Jigsaw, I think it might be a little bit vulnerable. So I just think it's going to be a very firm track. It's 35 or something on Saturday, so look, I don't think the rail's going to be a disadvantage, and if Jigsaw can rail into the straight and pinch a bit of a margin, I think it's going to be pretty hard to run down, even though the 1200 is a slight query. The last 50 might be hard in mouth stuff.
Snapper's won a couple at Flemington down the straight, also one at the Valley, but is your speed map the same, that Jigsaw gets to the front and that's an advantage over Snapper?
It depends what Dry McNeil wants to do.
Yeah.
You know, Snapper's so quick earlier. They're both fast horses, both natural on-speed horses, but look at Snapper's record, 4 from 7 at the Valley, and he's run a really, really good race in a William Reid. He was only beaten, 2 3/4 lengths or something like that when he set the tempo in a Group 1. So I think he's got certainly the speed to lead if that's what Dry wants to do. But yeah, the first 100 metres, that'll be really important for the races. As Lammy says, 35 degrees, the Valley, I think it'll be hard to make ground on the day.
Oh, your top 3 in order then, mate?
Yeah, going with Jigsaw on top just because of that barrier. Calypso Rain, I think, is easily the best of the swoopers. 5-time winner over this trip and has never missed a place in 5 first-up runs. So generally primed to run a big one fresh. And I think Willow's a really good booking for this horse, striking at nearly 22% of the Valley this season. And I think he'll give Calypso Rain the right run in transit. For third, I put in Ironclad just because it'll get a pretty soft run from barrier 1, provided it can actually keep up early. It might be run off its legs, but it was back into a bit of form last prep in WA, albeit over longer trips, and I had Snapper in for 4th. Just don't think it'll be able to lead.
Okay, so Snapper's a bit of a lay for James. Where do you have your numbers?
I've got him on top. I'm running with the horses for courses angle with Snapper, and I'm hoping Dry McNeil's really aggressive early and goes and gets the lead. Calypso Rain, same exact horse. I think if the 2 leaders overdo it, he's the one that will really appreciate that and will close off so hard on those front 2. Jigsaw next best. He's just going so well. You can't ignore him.
Similar numbers to you. I've got Snapper on top in front of Jigsaw and Calypso Rain. Very good trainer, D Jolly, and as you mentioned, very good first-up record. So they're the top 3 for me as well. So not a lot of difference because it is a skinny race. But we move on to the rest of the card. James, you mentioned you like the card, so what about some other bets at the Valley?
Yeah, I'm really keen on race 6, number 6, Luna Cat. I'm surprised that it's $3.50 or $3.60, Matty. I think it'll start a lot shorter than that. Huge first up run in what was a really hot race over 1,000 metres. They ran 56.7, which is low flying. Second in that race was Unflinching. We saw that horse win at the Valley last Saturday, so I really like that form line. Rise to 1200 is perfect for Luna Cat. It's actually won over this track and distance by about 3 lengths a couple of preps ago. So the Valley, no issue at all, and I think it sits a lot closer than it did last time. It drew barrier 12 or something and went back a mile. So barrier 3, I think it'll settle in the first half of the field and hopefully be too good for these at nice price.
All right, that's best for the day. Your best?
Swords drawn in the first.
In the first?
Yeah, get it early, Matty. Yeah, getting out of this trip I think is ideal. At least he's a horse in this race. It looks like he's got somewhere to go. A lot of these, they might be going up over a hurdle, before the end of the year. So I think Swords drawn's absolutely primed. Celine Gaudreau's riding so well. I think she'll get a winner in the first.
I've got Command approved for Matthew Smith in race 2 as my best bet of the day. Unbeaten at 1,000 metres, 3 for 3. Goes up in grade, but I think can handle it. And from barrier 1, could get straight to the front, i.e. vis-a-vis, as you said, with Jigsaw. What about something else and also your value play?
I like Worsfold in the last. The only real query is the Valley. I'm not sure the Valley is his ideal circuit. He is a horse who can take a little bit to go through his gears, and then he's got a booming finish when he does hit top gear. But look, barrier 7 I think it's a positive for him. If he had drawn inside, I might have been taking him on, but I think he just stays out of trouble. Shin on, keep on the outside of horses, even if he does have to cover a little bit of extra ground. I think he'll be too good for these. Goes up 3 kilos from his last win, but look, I think third up he's probably open to a bit more improvement, and the extra 100 metres is, definitely not a negative. So I'm keen for Worsfold to make it 3 for 3 for Nick Ryan.
And value?
Value. Sticking with that unflinching form line, not enough effort, actually ran 4th or 5th in that race. Was only 2 lengths off Luna Cat. 400 days between runs, so it was first up for a long time. And look, coming out of a hot race off a long spell, there's a chance it might be a little bit flat second up, but at $21, it's worth having a little spec from a soft draw, and it looks a weaker benchmark 70 field. So hoping that Henry Dwyer's just kept this horse ticking over, but look, there's the chance it could be a bit flat second up.
You've got money in your pocket after Swords drawn?
Absolutely.
Where do you go from there?
I'm going to race 5, Matty, for Jean Valjean, or Jean Valjean, depending how you want to pronounce it. But this horse was a little bit disappointing in a small field at Morphettville last time. He started favourite, he loomed up like he was going to win. Last 100 just seemed to hit the wall. They're putting a tongue tie on, so I reckon he might have got his tongue over the bit, this horse, last start. If he's back to his best and that gear change works, I think he'll beat these. Value is in at race 8, right down the bottom, number 13, Sorrel Rising for Brent Stanley.
Yeah.
It's got ability. He's tried it in some decent races. Got some nice form around it too, Lammy. I just reckon that first up run was forgivable. He was inside horses in a bad spot, never really had a crack at them. He's been back to the trials since and has gone well. I think he's a really good each way bet.
Been a bit of early money for it as well.
Oh, okay.
That's a good sign.
Early shoppers.
Write that down. Sorrel is rising. I've gone with Luna Cat as the other best bet of the day. I agree with everything you say. I think this horse is going to be very, very hard to beat. And for some value, we go to race 8, number 3, Magnum Bullet. Goes up in weight and drawn a bit wide, but much better back to benchmark. 70 grade, 1-2 starts back at the Valley over the 1200 and beat Kentucky Casanova, but there is a weight issue there, but big odds it's worth a look as well. Anything else, gentlemen?
I think we've got it. We've got the card pretty much covered here, I feel.
Yeah, that's it.
Disappointed if we don't get 5 each.
Yeah, I like it.
How good's that? 5 each. Last time I made 5, it was off a no ball. Mate, as always, thanks for joining us.
Good to be here, Matty.
James Lamb from punters.com.au. Make sure you tune into all his tips. He's on fire at the moment. Don't worry about that. 5, that's a small number. You'll get 8. We'll be back to look at the big call, recapping all the tips.
The betting brand for sports fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.